Every morning, the sun rises for everyone. But not everyone sees the same sunrise. Some people see a new beginning, while others see another difficult day. This is the story of Arjun, a young man who had been searching for a job for almost a year. He had attended interview after interview. And every time, he heard the same words. "We regret to inform you." One evening, Arjun sat alone on a park bench. His shoulders were tired. His eyes were filled with disappointment. He looked at his phone and read another rejection message. He sighed. "I'm not good enough." He whispered. "I always fail. Maybe I'll never succeed." He looked around the park. People were laughing. Children were playing. Families were enjoying the evening. And Arjun felt like the whole world was moving forward, while he was standing still. Then, an elderly woman sitting nearby noticed him. She slowly walked toward him. She had silver-gray hair, a gentle smile, and a wooden walking stick. She stopped beside him and asked, "Why do you look as though you've lost everything?" Arjun forced a smile. "Nothing, Grandma." The old woman smiled. When someone says nothing while looking like that, there is always something. Arjun looked down. "I failed another interview. I've been trying for months. Everyone keeps moving ahead. And I keep failing." The old woman quietly sat beside him. Then she asked, "Tell me something. If you fall while climbing a staircase, do you say the staircase has defeated you?" Arjun smiled faintly. "No." "Then why do you think one failure can defeat you?" Arjun became silent. The old woman reached into her small bag. She took out a tiny seed and placed it gently in Arjun's hand. "Tell me. What do you see?" Arjun looked at it. "A seed. Does it look like a tree?" "No." "Does it look strong?" Arjun shook his head. "No." The woman pointed toward a huge tree standing nearby. "Look at that tree." Arjun looked up. "Do you know what that tree was many years ago?" "A seed?" The old woman smiled. "Exactly. Imagine if that little seed could think. Imagine it saying, 'I am too small. I will never become a tree. There is no point trying.'" Arjun smiled. "That sounds silly." The old woman looked at him. "Does it?" Arjun became quiet. She continued. "Many people speak exactly like that about themselves. I am not talented. I am unlucky. I always fail. I will never succeed." Those thoughts become the walls that stop them from growing. She placed the seed back into his hand. A seed doesn't become a tree by complaining about being small. It grows. Slowly. Quietly. One day at a time. Arjun looked at her. "But positive thinking can't solve everything." The old woman nodded. "You're right. Positive thinking isn't magic. It won't make your problems disappear overnight." "Then what is the point?" Arjun asked. The old woman looked into his eyes. "The point is not to tell yourself that everything is perfect. The point is to tell yourself, 'I can face this.' If you tell yourself, 'I can't do it,' you stop trying. But if you tell yourself, 'Maybe I can,' you try again. And sometimes, that second attempt changes everything." Arjun looked at the rejection message on his phone. The old woman said, "You failed an interview. That is a fact. But saying, 'I am a failure,' that is a choice. Failure is something that happens. It is not who you are." Those words stayed in Arjun's mind. The next morning, something changed. Arjun woke up early. He stood in front of the mirror. And instead of saying, "I can't," he said, "I can improve." He practiced speaking. He studied. He learned new skills. He prepared for interviews. And every time his mind said, "You're going to fail again," he answered, "Maybe. But I'm going to try again." Days became weeks. Weeks became months. He didn't suddenly become successful. There were still difficult days. There were still rejections. But something had changed. His attitude. Before, every rejection made him weaker. Now, every rejection taught him something. He stopped asking, "Why does this always happen to me?" and started asking, "What can I learn from this?" That one question changed his life. One morning, Arjun received another interview invitation. His hands were shaking. His heart was beating fast. For a moment, the old fear returned. What if I fail again? Then he remembered the old woman's words. Failure is something that happens. It is not who you are. Arjun took a deep breath. And walked into the interview room. The interviewer looked at his resume. "You've had several unsuccessful interviews before this one." Arjun smiled. "Yes. Doesn't that discourage you?" Arjun paused. Then he said, "Of course it does. But every failure showed me something I needed to improve. And I kept improving." The interviewer smiled. "That's a good answer." 3 days later, Arjun's phone rang. "Congratulations. You've been selected." Arjun couldn't believe it. He sat quietly for a moment. Then, his eyes filled with tears. Not because he had finally found a job, but because he realized something much bigger. He had not changed his life by becoming a different person. He had changed it by changing the way he spoke to himself. That evening, he returned to the park. He wanted to thank the old woman. But she wasn't there. He searched around the benches. Nothing. Then he noticed something. Near the old tree, a small plant was growing from the ground. Arjun smiled. He gently touched its leaves. And whispered, "Thank you." Years later, Arjun became successful in his career, so choose your thoughts carefully. Because the life you dream about may begin with nothing more than one positive thought. I can. And remember. Follow Insight Edge for more inspiring stories that can change the way you think.